Hey, we are going on a side quest.
So Assassin's Creed Shadows came out recently, and okay, I didn't play it. I've never really been an Assassin's Creed fan, more of a Dishonored guy myself, but I heard it's another Ubisoft game, and many people have good reason to distrust Ubisoft, as their business practices have led to an exhaustive and exhausting list of mediocre games. But there are other people who didn't like Assassin's Creed Shadows for a very different reason than Ubisoft's questionable development practices. They instead disliked Assassin's Creed Shadows because it has a woman and a black guy. And there's nothing certified gamers hate more than... Well, honestly, the jury's still out on the woman or the black dude. I think they've just settled on both. However, one of these chuds has really caught my attention. A certified gamer by the name of Colonel Otaku Gatekeeper. You see, this guy, he is a Japanese national, and as a Japanese national, he feels the need to point out the horrific practices of Assassin's Creed Shadows marketing in Japan. You see, these Western developers are so ignorant of Japan, they're not even using the right language. They're promoting Assassin's Creed Shadows using Chinese. Ubisoft's promoting Assassin's Creed Shadows here in Japan in Chinese. No! I am not joking. Now, thankfully, good old Community Notes, aka the only good thing come out of Twitter in the past few years, has a response for him. You see, that is Japanese. For favorable reviews, now on sale. Japanese and Chinese both use kanji/hanzi. Apologies for my pronunciation, despite some assumptions, I am not Japanese. And clearly, this guy is not either, at least he doesn't seem like it. I mean, come on, the language of Japan is a pretty basic thing that a Japanese national should understand. So, if he doesn't know this, is he even really Japanese? And for people familiar with Mr. Otaku, this is not a new question. You see, this guy has been on Twitter for years, defending Japanese culture from the woke mob trying to censor it, when in fact, he's not Japanese at all. This, my friends, is the story of a LARPer, a man defending a culture that's not his own, a culture he doesn't understand, and the wonderful Japanese people who stepped up to expose him. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Now, some backstory. Colonel Otaku Gatekeeper has gone viral before for similar foolishness. He claims to be a Japanese national who protects the country from Western values, infecting anime with its censorship.
Since anime became mainstream, there have been calls to regulate anime. Not just in the West, but also here in Japan.
Now, what does he mean by that? Well, that usually means he's ranting about whatever recent anime tickles his fancy, or ranting about Japanese politics, mostly in a very ignorant way. Now, I'm not going to comment on that, as unlike him, I don't like talking about things I don't really understand, as, like I said before, I am not Japanese. However, I don't think you need to be Japanese or understand Japanese culture or politics to understand that the way this guy talks about Japanese school children is just a tad concerning. In this latest example of gender ideology infecting Japan, children are no longer required to wear swimsuits, and they are pushing children to wear unisex swimwear. The problem with encouraging unisex swimwear, besides the fact that it's rooted in gender ideology, is that it will change the way anime girls are illustrated in the future. What you see in the picture could become a thing of the past if girls' swimwear is stopped being worn. Okay, man. So clearly, this guy has very particular taste when it comes to Japan. And through these rantings, as well as his total misunderstanding of both Japanese language and politics over the years, many have come to question, are you really Japanese? And one person, Yuni, decided to take it to the next level. You see, Aaron lives in the prefecture that Otaku claims to live in. And so, Aaron did something very sensible. They asked, hey, do you want to meet up? Meet up in a public park or something. How about a public park near the grocery store that you claim to work at? If we do that, then you will prove forevermore your role as a Japanese nationalist. And so, the challenge was issued. Otaku simply needed to meet this person at the designated spot. However, Otaku was fairly nervous about this meeting leading up to it, though eventually Otaku did post a picture of him with Aaron, even complimenting her appearance, saying that she's quite beautiful. When I hate to inform Otaku, but Aaron, in fact, is not a woman, he's a dude. So obviously, this was very, very confusing to onlookers, especially since the photo that he provided as evidence is just a stock image from Google Maps that he used of the park. This basically confirmed that he is not, in fact, in Japan. Though Aaron did not stop. He actually continued to the meeting place and waited for Otaku. He went so far as to go to the grocery store that Otaku claimed to have worked at and asked around, hey, is there a man of his description in your store? Because Otaku is not claiming to be a purely Japanese man, he is claiming to be half British, half Japanese. So obviously a mixed race person in that area would be at least somewhat notable, though the staff have never heard of him in their lives. This isn't actually the first time this has happened. Otaku has also claimed to be part of an anime dub organization and said that he helps them out, though when asked, the dubbing group claimed that they had never heard of this guy in their life and had certainly never worked with him. He also attempted to fake an ID to hilarious results. For reference, here's a real one, here's the fake one. Yeah. At least don't be a lazy fake. The illusion is falling apart, and in the specific case of Aaron Yuni, Otaku and his fans were starting to spiral. The fans were coping. You see, they were saying at this point, look, it doesn't matter if Otaku is Japanese or not. He makes Japan look appealing to the West by making it look super racist and sexist and filled with children that I can... Otaku himself, though, he was taking a very different approach. You see, he actually had DMs with Aaron Yuni. DMs that proved that, actually guys, this was a prank the whole time. Aaron was actually in on it. I'm thinking of doing something entertaining for our followers. What about pretending we're going to meet up? That would be hilarious. I'll pretend to be a girl, and I will be commenting on your post, pestering you to meet up, and you agree to do it under the justification of confirming whether you are Japanese or not. Yeah, this, surprisingly, didn't work, and most people at this point were well aware that Otaku Gatekeeper was, in fact, not a Japanese national. However, guys, this is where the story gets really, really, truly excellent. As Otaku, he posted his own little apology. Not an apology video, no ukuleles to be seen, but it was still a similar level of cringy entertainment. I am not Japanese, but I can explain why I pretended to be Japanese. I am deeply ashamed of being British. I see the UK as a lost country. It's gone too far. My purpose on X was to talk to people from different backgrounds and to learn other perspectives, which is not something I could do if people knew I was British. I had great conversations with Filipinos. We're not gonna talk to you, buddy. Syrians, Egyptians, Koreans, surprisingly, Germans, Italians, etc. And I've created a genuine friendship with an actual Japanese person who knows the truth about me. Because the UK colonized half the world and to this day works alongside America in destroying countries people rightfully wouldn't want to talk to me. My love for Japan is genuine. My earliest life memories were playing Sonic 1 with my family on the Sega Mega Drive and trying to pronounce the Japanese names on the credits. My favorite artist of all time is Linkin Park, which was founded by Mike Shinoda. I'd say 95% of all happy memories in my life involve Japan in some way, and I want to protect Japan. I would rather die than end up being like mine. I'm assuming my country. And yeah, that was amazing. But it was actually taken down. That whole post was deleted off the internet because Otaku claimed that it was actually a leftist hacker who infiltrated his page to destroy his reputation, as if he wasn't doing a good enough job on his own. And he deleted the post and clarified that he will be continuing despite the hit that his rep has taken. He would actually grow with Assassin's Creed Shadows. You see, Chuds don't really do their research, so they just look at this guy and assume, yeah, he sounds Japanese. He's saying the things that we like hearing. And so they supported this guy unquestioningly. Of course, until a few days ago, where a lot of questions around this man and his actual heritage once again popped up, with this whole investigation being brought back to the forefront. Oh, and bringing it all back to our original situation with the Assassin's Creed Shadows marketing, Colonel Otaku Gatekeeper also stole this image from Kaihatsu, which explained the difference in the characters. Kaihatsu then went on to threaten legal action in the UK to serve a proper takedown, and the post was subsequently deleted. Take that as you will. In fact, even more people are chiming in with even more evidence that this guy is not Japanese. He's obsessed with using stock photos and AI to cover up both his voice and his location, but the grift is done. It's not working. This guy is floundering to a hilarious degree, only appealing to the worst among us. Only appealing to Russian bots, straight up Nazis, and, Drake. You know what I mean. Now, here we are at the conclusion part, and I'm mostly talking about this because Otaku Gatekeeper is funny. This is hilarious. The absolute secondhand embarrassment of this failed grifter is funny to me. The best part is, it's not like this is a monetized job. This guy is not like, I don't know, the quartering, getting ad revenue off of his posts. This is Twitter. The amount of money he's getting off this is pennies on the dollar at best. But he continues, and he's continuing for a reason that I think is very concerning. Something I've seen more and more, not just to this extreme degree, but all over. That problem being the glorification and borderline fetishization of foreign Asian cultures. Now, not to brag, but in case you haven't noticed, I am Asian. Yeah, I know. Thank you. And I really love when people get so invested in Chinese, Japanese, Filipino culture. It's great. However, there is investment, interest, research, and then there is the extreme glorification that some of these cultures undergo. And look, we've all seen the extreme examples. People like this guy being the extreme examples. They're easy to laugh at, easy to make fun of because they're just so clearly evil and stupid. But it goes beyond this. At its most mundane, I still think this is a problem we should address. Asian cultures in the West have fallen into this weird, exotic bubble. They're foreign and interesting, and therefore many see them as better or superior, and while that's certainly flattering to some degree, it is also a tad concerning. At its most innocuous, look at the way that some people in the West look at our fruits, for example. Dan Olson explains it better than I could.
But rather think more of creators trading in other cultures, specifically because those cultures will appear exotic and strange to viewers, where the perceived exotic or exclusive nature of grains or fruits is leveraged to give the veneer of authority to grandiose claims that they are superfoods, possessing special properties, if not nigh mystical powers.
The West looks at the foreign and sees something worth glorifying. And it's not just our food, it's also our politics, our people. Think about the way people talk about Asian students. I mean, as a kid who went to an American high school, I can tell you that the pressures I face, both from my family and from my peers, was extreme just because of my ethnicity, and it was not fun to deal with throughout my education. at its worst, we see the fetishization of Asian women, specifically, usually Japanese women, by people like incels who see them as attractive and submissive when Asian women are just people like any other, worthy of respect, not fetishization. And at the absolute worst, we see people like Otaku here. People who use Asian culture, its supposed superiority, as a way to spread hate against others. They bash queer people, they bash immigrants, they bash anyone they can, using this culture as a blunt force tool. This guy thinks he cares about Japanese culture, but as can be seen by his horrific research, he cares about Japanese culture as far as it is a tool for him to spread hate to others. And that is not okay. Look, like I said at the top, it's a great thing to be interested in other cultures. Of course it is. It develops an appreciation for the people around you, and that is healthy and good. There's nothing wrong with a Westerner watching anime or cooking Thai food or something like that. And frankly, if you have a problem with those things, I think that's a little bit weird. But there is still a problem we need to call out. The problem of people using these cultures for nothing but spreading hate. If you learn about the people around you, cultures across the world, it shouldn't be to hate. It should be to develop appreciation. To love. Very chicken noodle soup for the soul. I know, but I mean, come on. Getting corny at the end is a YouTube staple. If you guys enjoyed this video, you might enjoy one of our previous episodes of Critical Failure. We addressed the failure of Hasbro's Sigil VTT for Dungeons & Dragons. It's linked in the cards. But before you go, please do leave a like on this one and subscribe to Crispy's Tavern so you don't miss any of our content as it comes out. And finally, if you want to leave your own recommendations or thoughts, you can go down in the comments down below. If you can't think of a comment, leave the comment LARPer to let me know I made it to the end of the video. In essence, like, comment, subscribe. We will see you all next time. Farewell.
Hey, we are going on a side quest.